military. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for war.
So, Caroline Wren, this is blown up today. I think Charlie Kirk put it up. What is this clip? Why is it important? And why are we still talking about this in June of 2024, less than 6 months from election? This happened 4 years ago, ma'am.
We're talking about it still because the Democrats have spent 3 years and $20 million creating a narrative that Donald Trump was to blame for the events on January 6th, even though it was President Trump who tried to authorize the national troops that day and was rejected. So why this footage of Nancy Pelosi taking responsibility for National Guard not being there on January 6th is explosive, but it's also infuriating for someone like me who got tied up in all this January 6th garbage. But I mean, it was Nancy Pelosi who did not authorize the National Guard coming. And this is also why Nancy Pelosi, if you remember, blocked people like Jim Banks from being on the January 6th committee, because she knew then that if there was an actual January 6th committee that focused on why the Capitol was so unprotected that day, all roads would have led back to Nancy Pelosi, because as Speaker, it was her job to secure the Capitol. And for those of us who, thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans who attended a peaceful rally at the White House ellipse, one of which I was involved in, we knew that there were hundreds of thousands of people showing up. The National Guard knew, the police knew, everyone knew that. You could tell every hotel room within 100 miles was fully booked. And so they knew that there's a tremendous amount of people coming. They knew those people were going to march. They act like it was some sort of fake or secret march. The RSVP website was called TrumpMarch.com. The background of Trump's speech was March to Save America. So what did they think everyone was going to do afterwards? They have spent the last 3 years gaslighting us and blaming Donald Trump. And it is absolutely ridiculous, because for the left, they've used the court systems to attack our founding rights, undermine the rule of law, and erode our nation's most cherished principles and values. And really, I mean, not since the Red Scare has our country seen such a brazen attempt by elected officials to trample on the civil liberties of American citizens in order to expose and demonize their political adversaries. And at the end of the day, we can make no mistake about this. This was General Milley, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Susan Rice orchestrating a coup against the American people on January 6th. This is why when Donald Trump gets back in, we must have a Republican Senate. We must have a Congress, a Republican-led Congress with an actual spine and an oversight committee chair who is willing to investigate and do the same thing, I would hope, to our enemies that they did to us.
No, but I think it's got to be deeper. We got to have. This is why kicking Banks and Jordan off. You have to have a committee that has a ranking member and a minority council. The Democrats have to have this. We got to set up a committee. We should set it up now and play by the rules. And playing by the rules, it's fine if they get the information. It's fine if they cross-examine witnesses. That's the American way. Is this what you're seeing here now? And you said it's a coup. Is this why McCabe and these people, AOC, McCabe, all these people are just frantic when they come on TV now, saying, "Oh, these horrible things, I got to leave the country"? Is this why they're worried? Because they know, well, AOC is kind of irrelevant, but I mean McCabe and these folks, when he says they're having torturous conversations amongst themselves and with their family because they understand that the crimes they've committed.
I hope they should be worried. And, you know, I'm not, you're a better person than I am, Steve, because I don't think we should have Democrats on the committee when we come in. I mean, why? Like, the left have already said that they immediately, if they get their way and they get the House, Senate, and presidency, which would take them having to steal the election again, but let's not put it past them, they're immediately going to lift the filibuster and pass all of this outrageous bills that they want to do, including legalizing 20 million citizens. They're going to add 4 Supreme Court justices to forever pack the court. They're going to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states to add 4 Supreme Court justices. And so what? And we're going to go in and play by the rules? No, thank you. The Democrats blew the rules up. The rules are gone. They're out the window. I don't want to play by their rules. I want to play by our own rules, and I want to get to the bottom of what they did to us. The American people deserve sunlight. They deserve to know the truth. The media has been complicit in all of this as well, and so we have to have other outlets to be able to get this message out. But, I don't why. I'm sure we could throw a Democrat on the committee, I guess, but really, why?
Are you saying that the media also, you want to subpoena and get all their records, text messages, meetings, emails, conversations they had because they're part of this?
Absolutely. I had to turn over all of mine, like everyone else said. Of course we should do that. Why is it that, we're living in a two-tier justice system, and we might as well continue that once we get in office. Why is it that they're trying to lock up people who did not honor a subpoena, but Hunter Biden just gets away with not showing up? This is remember the Fast and Furious case? Like, he didn't show up for his subpoena, and I don't remember him going to jail. So yes, I am saying that. I think that it is time to take back our government truly, and I think that's what I'm hoping happens when Donald Trump gets back into office. This is why I don't think we need 51 senators. I think we need 54, and we need some good ones such as Jim Banks, Carrie Lake, Bernie Moreno, others who are going to go in and not just go along with whatever their leadership says, and they're going to actually go in to fight and try to win here. We need a Speaker of the House who has the guts to enact all of this and to enact President Trump's agenda. But also we do need to be looking backwards as to what had happened. So perhaps we do. Bank of America turned over the credit card records of every single individual that made a transaction within 100 miles of D.C. on January 5th or 6th, absent any warrant. So maybe perhaps they should do the same when going back to the protests when they were burning down cities over George Floyd. Or who knows what's going to happen between now and the election. And if Donald Trump wins the election, I don't really suspect the Democrats will just go quietly into the night. So ones that do, even if it's peacefully protest, then yeah, perhaps all of their financial records should be turned over, because that's what they did to us.
By the way, Donald Trump is going to win, as you know, but let's talk about that. Are you seeing, you handle the big donors, are you noticing a sea change? You saw in San Francisco last week, David Sachs led a group of the guys in high tech. Are you noticing that among donors, that they see the crosstabs and they see what's happening? I think it's Nate Silver saying today, and I believe I think it was the Washington Post, it picked up on Mediaite, that Biden's numbers have hit an all-time low for approval. He's saying he's got to be removed from the ticket. Are you noticing Republican donors coming home?
Republican donors have been coming home for a while now, but the largest time that I saw was during after they came out with the 34 felony counts. My phone has never rang or gotten more text message of donors I haven't heard for in years saying, how can I give? I want to give to Donald Trump. So they're absolutely coming off the sidelines. You're also seeing donors that didn't support Donald Trump in 2016 or 2020 coming off the sidelines and wanting to give to him. That's because they recognize what a disaster this presidency has been, and that 2025, people forget, is going to be the year of the tax. And if you are a wealthy individual who is looking right now at that's going to be a problem for you. The Democrats want to raise all of your taxes, and they say that they're just going to raise it on the top 1%. That's not true. If they roll back Donald Trump's tax cuts, it's going to really hurt the middle class, everyone up and down the tax income class. And so I do think business leaders are stepping forward. They also see a world that's completely in turmoil. We have no leadership coming from the presidency, and all the anti-Semitism coming out of the Democratic Party. There's a number of reasons why they're coming home, but you're seeing them come home in tremendous amounts of money. You have Ron DeSantis running phone banks right now, raising money for Donald Trump. You have people stepping up, even from our primary and beyond. So I do think right now the money and all the tides, all the polling is turning in the way of Donald Trump, but I still remain very nervous. These are not people that play fair. These are not people that are acting fair. I am very nervous and concerned that I think that they will possibly remove Biden. I think that's why they moved the debate up before he actually accepts the nomination. And if you saw, they have this whole Ohio mishap where he somehow wasn't on the ballot. So all of a sudden, all the delegates in the Democratic Party are to get together by Zoom to nominate Joe Biden ahead of the convention. Why are they doing that? I think it's by purpose. I think it's if he bombs the debate, then they could just have a Zoom meeting and say Biden's out, Michelle, you're in, and not have some bloody floor fight happen. And so we're not taking notice of these things. I certainly am. So I predict that there'll be several things that come up between now and then, because Biden is not right in the head right now. You just saw he did a disastrous performance in Normandy. He could barely even stand. He had to be walked off the stage in the middle of the ceremony by his wife. This is not someone who can compete with someone as tremendously strong as Donald Trump. And so I do think that there will be some sort of change.
And he was one of the factors that led to Macron Macron getting blown out, only 15%.
Right.
I call Biden right now the cooler. Where they go for your social media? You're always coming in hot, Caroline Wren. So where do folks go? What's your website?
You can find me at Caroline Wren on Twitter, Getter, and Truth Social.
You're on fire, ma'am. Great hit. Thank
Always
you so
am.
much for joining us.
Thank you.